What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Sports Talk on Tap podcast. We're here. You can find daily videos Monday through Friday covering all the four major sports leagues, MLB, NFL, NHL, NBA, you name it. And today's NFL segment, if you haven't already, make sure to check out yesterday's segment where we predicted all 7 playoff teams in seeding 1 through 7, who will make it, some teams that might miss it just barely. Today, though, we have the NFC. And Nick, I'm excited. Yesterday, I'm Jake. That's Nick, by the way. And yesterday, we did this. We had a lot of the similar teams, I think like 5 or 6 similar, but we also had none in the order, actually. No, exact seating, in the same order. We were very close on some, like the Bills, Bengals, all that shit. But, Nick, I'm excited. NFC. Do you want to start, or do you want me to get first pick for our one?
You can start. I think I started last time, so you can start.
All right. So my pick for the 1 seed this year might be a hot take, might not be. I think a lot of teams like them. They were really high last year in the seeding. I'm going with the Detroit Lions to be the 1 seed this year. This team has some question marks if they can still win a Super Bowl with the Jared Goff as the QB, but this team is built for the regular season. I think the best offensive line in football, very solid quarterback in Jared Goff, like we talked about. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is going to take that next step. I think David Montgomery's still there, but either way, Jahmyr Gibbs is, I still think, their prime running back 1. Great receiving back, can run the ball really effectively. Amon-Ra St. Brown, a dog, 1,500 plus yards last year. Probably going to get that again this year. Jameson Williams, I'm expecting to actually fill into that wide receiver 2 role. Obviously, we've seen his speed kind of, stepped up in the playoffs more. I remember that NFC Championship game had a huge run. Excited to see what, obviously, getting Ben Johnson back is huge. Sam Laporta entering his second year. I mean, that's exciting. The defense, they brought in DJ Reader to help fill that nose tackle. They traded for Carlton Davis to help out back end. I still have some question marks about the back end and the defense as a whole, but I like this team. And they're built, Dan Campbell, they're built tough. They're going to win tough games. They are built for the regular season. This team, I believe, is going to win 12, 13 games again this year. So give me the Lions to be the 1 seed out of the NFC.
Okay. Respect. I do have the Lions, but I'm not going to tell you where until
I hope you have the Lions in the playoffs. Otherwise, Lions fans would murder you.
True. But my 1 seed is more vanilla than yours, so you're going to make all your little funny comments. But
49ers.
What?
49ers, I bet.
Nope, not 49ers. It's the team in our predictions, I predicted is going to win the Super Bowl. I put the Philadelphia Eagles. I hate the Eagles, but I think they're going to have a big bounce back year with Jalen Hurts coming off a bad year, bad playoff loss, pretty much a second half of the season collapse within that team. So I think they're going to have a big bounce back year, and those guys are hungry for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and great minds think alike because I have the Eagles as my number 2 seed. They're built for the regular season. Another team that I think is Jalen Hurts end of last year, but obviously we saw a huge regression. But I think a lot of that was due to play calling and how Brian Johnson was just scheming up weird stuff, offense and defensively. I mean, the Eagles turned to Matt Patricia to try and save their season on defense. This year, though, they get Kellen Moore, great offensive mind, has elevated Dak Prescott, and we've seen him with Justin Herbert. I'm excited to see what they cook up. I think Eagles will be much better. Still a top 5 offensive line, even with Jason Kelce gone. The tush push may not work, but they still got, I think his name is Tafa, whatever it is, left tackle, absolute beast. Still got Landon Dickerson. They got dudes on that offensive line, so they'll be good being able to run the ball, getting Saquon Barkley, hopefully healthy. You still have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, weapons, Dallas, Goddard. The defense front 7 is still really dangerous. Some question marks on the back end, but, they're going to be younger, faster. I'm excited to see what they can do, though. I think even just getting new defensive coordinator will be huge for them. I believe did they get Vic Fangio? They got new DC, and either way, it was an upgrade from Sean Desai and Matt Patricia, who were kind of also really bad. So I'm excited. I think the Eagles will bounce back. Jalen Hurts will have a nice season, and this team will be the 2 seed in the NFC.
Bet that. Okay. So think my NFC list has a lot of, out of the ordinary takes or picks. I mean, because my 2 seed is probably not a 2 seed on many people's list, but I think they're gonna have like kind of a surprise last hurrah type of year. I have the Rams at the 2 seed, winning their division. I think Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are both gonna go off, and that offense is just gonna be flying all over the place. I know they lost Aaron Donald, but I just got a feeling with Stafford, and they kind of sold out on all their chips or sold out for that Super Bowl with all those draft picks. So it's not like they have a huge future ahead, but maybe McVay has one last run because they got really hot at the end of last year and pushed into the playoffs and looked good. So I'm thinking they'll ride that momentum.
I don't dislike your take. I just find it really hard to believe. But you never know. We've seen weirder things happen in the NFL. But just Aaron Donald retiring, I think he helped elevate that defense so much on the back end. They're not going to get the same pressure they did. So whether that be just through blitzing more or someone steps up we don't expect, that defense I expect to be worse. Stafford is just another year older. We've seen him deal with a lot of injuries throughout the last couple of years after winning that Super Bowl. So who knows what happens. But you still got Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua entering his second year. Kyrell Williams looked really good. Looked really good. Yeah, Blake Corum. I think he'll be okay in the NFL. Not really sure how his game will translate, but I don't mind the pick. I think their offense will still be around top 10, but the defense I think is just going to be not great enough to keep them.
I mean, any defense that loses, a top 5 defensive player all time is going to get worse, no matter.
Yeah, but that defense wasn't like top 5 with him the last couple of years. It was kind of middle of the pack. So now that you go for middle of the pack, I say they're around like 22nd for me in defense. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, someone can step up for them on the offensive end. We saw Puka last year step up. So can someone on the defensive end, fill that void and get 7+ sacks? That'll be interesting to see, or just get that pressure that Aaron Donald got. Don't mind the pick, though. For me, my 3 seed is another team out of the NFC. I believe that
these are NFC standings, so I hope so.
Oh, yeah. I meant NFC West to follow up with Rams pick. You're right, though. It should be NFC. Otherwise, I don't know what we're doing here. I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. I think I still have questions. I think this is an 11-10 win team. I don't think they're going to win the 13 games they did last year, mainly because, we've seen them reach this point so many times. The 49ers can only go up this hill so many times of just, keep riding, keep going, keep grinding, and then see where we can get to and just lose to the Chiefs or lose in heartbreak in the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I still like the team. You still got Brock Purdy, but I have serious questions. Will this IU contract get done? He's holding out right now. You still got Debo, you still got Kittle, but it always seems like one of them goes down with an injury. That defense is always scrappy with Fred Warner. But the secondary, you have Charvarius Ward, but I still have some question marks there. This team is still stacked with talent, but can they stay healthy, and will there be a mental regression there? I don't know. I think, at least regular season-wise, they won't be as dominant as they have been the last 2 years. I see them taking a step back and winning like 10 games, but that's still good enough for them to win the NFC West, in my opinion, and be like the 3 seed.
Okay. Yeah, the Niners are like built to get to the playoffs, but injuries are such a big thing. And I thought about the other day that I forgot about, and maybe you did too, I don't know, but like, are they going to have Dre Greenlaw to start the year? Because remember, he blew his Achilles out, and he's a huge piece for them. Like he was probably a top 5 linebacker in the league last year with him and Fred Warner. So losing him is going to be big. You still have Fred Warner, so it'll fill the void a little more, but losing Dre Greenlaw, especially in the way you did, it sucked to see him go down like that. But that's going to be a big part of their defense. But the Niners are still going to be a good team. I trust them to make the playoffs. I have them on my list as well. But I'll get to them, like I said, when I get to them.
Who is your 3 seed?
My 3 seed is a team that you're high on, and I'm high on too. I think they're going to take a big step forward. I got the Packers winning the NFC North and finishing 3rd. I think we've talked about it a ton, how Jordan Love is probably going to take the next step, how good he looked at the second half of the year last year, in the playoffs last year. Realistically, could have gone to the championship game if they kind of didn't fumble the bag at home or at San Francisco. So I trust them to get back to that spot. And I believe I had them in my NFC championship game. I think I had Eagles Packers.
So, I think you, we had one. Yeah. I know it was something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Packers are a safe pick, with the NFC North kind of being up in the air right now, with the Vikings taking a step back. I mean, the Lions are still going to compete, so that's probably going to be the most competitive team with the Packers. But I trust the Packers will beat the Lions 1 out of 2 times, and then maybe just, I don't know, maybe the Bears steal one from the Lions that they shouldn't, or something like that, and the Packers take the division.
There's going to be upsets every week in the NFL, so, Lions are going to stumble. Green Bay will. I like that pick, though. Obviously, I'm high on the Packers, and we'll get to them for me. My 4 seed, my last division winner, though, is going to the NFC South. ATL, rise up. Kirk Cousins finally leads you to the playoffs. But, man, no, it's going to be ugly. The Falcons obviously went all in to sign Kirk Cousins, but this isn't getting the Falcons a Super Bowl. They're just going to win 11 games because the division isn't the strongest, but the Falcons they're going to win like 10 games, 4 seed, division winner, maybe 3 seed. You can switch them in the Niners, but I like the Niners above them. But question marks on that defense. They didn't really fill that pass rush in the draft. Could have gone to Dallas Turner. They go Michael Penix for the future. Maybe that'll pay off, but at least for now, still a lot of question marks on defense, especially the pass rush. They were like last in pressures, so that's kind of concerning. Offense will be good, though, as long as Kirk's healthy. He'll dish the ball out. Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, big years. They're going to win 10 games, but they're not going to the Super Bowl. Sorry, Falcons fans. But, for Atlanta, they probably don't care. They just want to be in the playoffs. And, they will be back with Kirk Cousins leading this team because they're a solid-ass team. I like their offensive line, too. All around, their offense is probably an A-, B+ tier. But their defense, for me, is like C. That's kind of where we start losing me on them being a Super Bowl contender.
Okay. The NFC South is such a up-in-the-air division for – who knows? Maybe Carolina gets hot, wins 8 games, and takes the division. But that division is so just ugly right now. I don't have the Falcons winning the division, though. I have the Bucs winning the division and getting the 4 seed. I think Baker's going to kind of continue what he did last year. They kept Mike Evans around, obviously signed Baker. So I think that offense is going to stay rolling. The defense is usually pretty solid there. Todd Bowles gets them rolling. So it's going to be nothing fancy. A 4 seed, they're going to get the 4 seed, going to get a home game just because they win the division, but they'll probably win the division with max 10 wins. I don't see them going out and getting any more than that. So going to be kind of
I don't mind that pick. I just think Buccaneers won 9 games last year. They re-signed a lot of players to keep the core together, but how much better did they get, if any better? I kind of don't really think they did. So I think they're going to be around where they were last year. But, maybe they win another game or steal one, So I like that pick. For me, my 5 seed, Green Bay Packers. I mean, you said it all. I'm really high on them. But I still think there's going to be some bumps in the road. Jordan Love is still only entering the second year as a full starter. These wide receivers are still young, only entering their second year. So there's going to be a learning curve still. And I think the Lions, I have the Lions-Packers, championship prediction. I still think the Lions are going to be more built for the regular season because I think the Packers are going to have some learning curves and, maybe take a loss or two that they shouldn't. But I'm still very high on the Packers. They're going to win 11 games around there this year. Big step forward. In Green Bay, I'm excited to see what they do. I'm expecting big things from them. Even as a Vikings fan, I kind of like this team. So, we'll see how it plays out. But give me the Green Bay is my first wild card team.
Okay. My first wild card team is a team you already put down. I got the 49ers. I think it's gonna be a good division race with the Rams, but I think they're gonna fall just short. Like I said, I think the Rams offense is just gonna be flying all over the place, and maybe I hope it doesn't happen, but maybe McCaffrey's out for a game or two, because he's got some injury problems. So maybe that holds their offense back in a game that they might need to win, but they lose because you can't play. I think they're still going to make the playoffs, like I said, but I just think this year the Rams are going to be, maybe the Rams win 11 games, Niners win 10, like you said.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like a bad, 3-game difference between the two. I think it'll be tight. Just the Rams, I predict, will come out on top.
I like that. Then my next team is a team that obviously a lot of people have regressing, and rightfully so. So do I. But I still think they have too much talent to miss the playoffs. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. They were the 2 seed last year, got upset by Green Bay in the first round. But Dak played at a very high level in the regular season. This is the regular season, folks. This isn't the playoff edition. So Dak will still ball out during the regular season, put up his numbers. CeeDee Lamb looked like a top 5 wide receiver last year, probably will still be there. Offensive line is getting up there in age, but they're still solid. And then you still have Zach Martin there. Jake Ferguson looked really good last year, especially towards the end of the year. I'm expecting even another step from him. And then just the defense, you still got Micah Parsons. You still got Trayvon Diggs, who will be back. Missed most of last year due to a torn ACL. You got Deron Bland, who led the league in pick sixes. You got some studs there still. This team won't be the 2 seed, I don't think, like they were last year. But, as long as, barring any big injuries, this team still has the talent to make the playoffs, and they're not gonna miss it. I mean, this isn't like a 13-win team that goes to 8 wins. They're still going to be around 10 wins. They're going to be solid. And I love the addition of Mike Zimmer as a defensive coach. They lost Dan Quinn, but Mike Zimmer led some great Vikings defenses in the late 2010s to playoff burst. I mean, a lot of people like to give Case Keenum credit for their run to the NFC Championship, but they had the number 1 defense that year. They had a top 5 defense with Teddy Bridgewater. So Mike Zimmer, when he has the right pieces in place, I can only imagine how he's going to use Micah Parsons and some of these guys. I'm excited to see that for Cowboys fans. I like this team still. Solid team. They're going to be in the playoffs.
All right. I'll take that. I'll give you that. Sorry. So my number 6 pick, again, another team you put on. I got the Lions. Just falling behind in the division race is all. It's not like they're, sneaking into the playoffs. I think they just fall behind to the Packers in a game or two in the division race and make it as a 6 seed, where with how I have it lined up right now, they would play the Packers in Lambeau, and that game could go anyway. So I can see that, like, the Lions have done it before. They did it 2 years ago to Aaron Rodgers, where they stole their season pretty much by keeping them out of the playoffs. So I can see them stealing one in Lambeau again. I think the Lions take a step back after last year. They were kind of riding such a high wave, getting all the way to the NFC Championship and, being a quarter away from the Super Bowl. I just think they're going to come down a little bit more. Teams are kind of know how to beat them. Kind of like your thing with CJ Stroud. They're going to have film on what you need to do to beat them.
Yeah. Overall, the Lions, though, just something about them. They're definitely going to win a lot of games. I don't know, unless Dan Campbell fucks it up, which is definitely possible. I think they're too good. I think they're going to be hungry, want to set the tone. And I don't know. Still love this team. Made some good additions to help that defense and that offense. I don't expect any regression. But yeah, I could, we'll see what happens.
You got 7 seed.
7.
Sneaking in.
I originally had Tampa Bay out of respect for the Buccaneers. What they show me, they're going to be right on the cusp, 8-9 wins. But you know what? What's a sports podcast without a hot take? My 7 seed will be the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are going to the playoffs. Let's see your face. Let's just start. What do they need to do to make the playoffs? I think Bryce Young's going to take that big step.
Everybody in the league has to die except for the Panthers.
You're enough with this Panthers hate. I can't wait to talk during the regular season because Dave Canales was my second favorite head coaching hire besides Jim Harbaugh. David transformed Baker Mayfield into a top 10 QB last season, now are like a top 15 QB in the league. Bryce Young has a lot of talent. They did nothing to help Bryce Young last year. This year, they hire a great offensive mind. What else do they do? Beef up that O-line. I've talked about this before. You get two solid guards. Robert Hunt got paid. Deion Lewis from Seattle to help protect him. What do they do? What else do they do? They get Xavier Levitt. They trade back into the first round to get that fifth-year option on a receiver. That kind of reminds me of a DK Metcalf type. Very solid, big build. And I think from South Carolina, he'll be a dog. He'll have that connection. You still have Adam Thielen, to look to 1,000 yards last year, and you trade to get Deontay Johnson. So this receiver room, I'm looking at 3 solid wide receivers. I'm looking at a much improved offense. I think the defense will still be scrappy. J.C. Horn, they obviously traded away Brian Burns. I think their defense, though, the defense will let alone just get better by the offense not having a 3-and-out every drive. Because this defense has always been scrappy and fast. But you know what? Carolina, my dark horse team, they're going to the playoffs with 8-9 wins. I think 9 wins will get them in as the last spot. And shout out to some honorable teams like the Rams, Buccaneers, Seahawks. But I just like this team too much to, I'm high on them. I don't know. I'm smoking that Panthers pack, I guess.
I mean, I guess if they have some sort of, Bengals thing where Joe Burrow's first year, he got hurt, but they were awful. And then next year he comes out and brings them to the Super Bowl. Maybe that happens, but I just can't see it happening. Like, I mean, going back to the Bengals, like Joe Burrow's, generational. They brought in Jamar Chase, who was Joe Burrow's guy and an insanely good wide receiver at LSU. But it's the NFL, you never know. Maybe Professor Riley, slipped you a 20 before today's episode so that you'd say that and give his Panthers some hype. But shout out Professor Riley. Love you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have him next semester, so maybe I'll show him this podcast.
Yeah. Maybe he'll endorse us after you said that.
Endorsed by the
My 7 seed is not nearly as crazy as yours. I don't know if that'd be possible unless I picked an XFL team to transfer over into the NFL. But I have the Atlanta Falcons sneaking in as the last seed. I think they are going to make the playoffs just with Kirk. They'll probably get 8 or 9 wins, sneak in. Probably not win a playoff game, but, like we said, Falcons fans will just be happy to get there at this point. Yeah. That's my last pick. I'm not going to get too far into it.
You're not riding that Falcons wave that most people are.
But this is a look at the final.
All right, so everyone, let us know. We'll have this pictured in our minds, looking back, to the playoffs, a year from now. See who was more.
There's only one thing I'm going to remember, and that's your Panthers pick.
We'll see, though. Just wait. I'm excited, though. We'll talk, more about, teams' mandatory mini camps starting this week. How everything goes, OTAs. Should be an exciting time, And the NFL, this is what it's all about, reckless speculation. Every team is still undefeated. Your team still has hopes to make the playoffs. And you know what? Every team, every analyst has, a team that they ride, dark horse sleeper team that isn't their own team. And I'm rooting for the Panthers this year, just as a fan. I like them. And, coincidentally, I don't like them, but I love their team. Green Bay Packers is going to be up there. You were even more high on them standings-wise, but obviously if you haven't already, check out our AFC and NFC championship picks for who we have heading to the Super Bowl early on in this offseason. But with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.